Many colleagues have requested a recording. So welcome everyone. We are here we have a very interesting topic today, if you notice. We are discussing mastering group coaching, learning and change in complex systems. Now, when we talk about group coaching, very often most of us as professional coaches, or at least based on my experience, I noticed that we do not fully understand the complexity of group coaching. I often see professional coaches taking group coaching. Um, the understanding of group coaching is mostly public groups, but group coaching is much more complex than that, because something that you might know or might not have thought about is that very often within organizations, when we look at organizations, we think organizations have teams. We think organizations are filled with teams. The truth is not the case. Very rarely there are real teams in organizations. The rest of the entities, if not human associations within an organization, tend to be, in fact, working groups, types of groups. And the interesting thing is when we approach different types of units, human associations. So when I say here units, what we mean is a group of people coming together, human associations. For an example, it can be the executive team, or it can be change management team. It can be something like many different teams, like maybe certain committees, like disciplinary committees, policy committees, and so on. So these different teams do not, although we call them teams very often, are not necessarily uh, often real teams. They tend to have different um, elements in them, different connections in them. Therefore, when we approach them, we need to approach them differently. So group coaching can also be quite complex as well. So that's really the baseline for our conversation today. I have my colleague Antanas, who is one of the faculty members who conduct our group and team coaching mastery certification. So we also intend to share with you some insights around our upcoming program. At the same time, we look forward to sharing with you some insights around group coaching, how complex it can be, and also answering any of your questions. So as we are here, a small group of people, I see that Catherine is joining. Hi, Catherine. Welcome to the session. I see Ajay. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Anna. Welcome. Since we are a small group of professionals and colleagues today, shall we do a round of quick introductions? Antanas, would you like to start yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Fernando. So happy to be here to engage with all of you. So I'm a business coach based in Lithuania, and focusing more on helping business owners move from this being most involved employees in their company to becoming this true business owner. So, and for that I'm using coaching, and then furthermore I'm then helping them with the teams. So yeah, that's about me. Uh,
Fantastic.
yeah.
Thank you, Antanas. Next, I see Lux. Lux is not a faculty of this program, but Lux is part of the faculty of Ignite Global. Lux, over to you. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Fernando. Hi, everyone. My name is Lux. Well, I'm Fernando's sister. I'm a parenting and child development specialist. Also, I am a certified group and team coach, and I use a lot of group and team coaching skills in my work, and I see how useful they are, and very excited for the conversation today.
Wonderful. Thank you, Lux. So please add, like, as we discuss about complex groups, Lux, you work with children, parents, like parenting ecosystems. Very often, when we also talk about groups and teams, we tend to think about corporate organizations very often, but that's not the case, right? Group and team coaching can be applied in many different ecosystems. Thank you. Catherine, if you're in a space to introduce yourself, I would warmly welcome you. Hi, Catherine. Great to see you.
Hi, everybody. So my name is Catherine Tolle. I am based in Nairobi, Kenya. Coincidentally, I saw the link for this yesterday and I thought it was shared somewhere and I thought, let me join and see what the conversation is about. So I came curious. But I am a leadership coach. I am a certified group and team coach. I am now working towards my ACTC which I am hoping I can do within the next few months. What else about me? Yeah, I think that's about it. And I am a PCC credential coach.
Fantastic. So, Catherine, you as a certified group and team coach, please contribute to this conversation. We are very excited to learn from you as well. And by the way, Catherine, as you're saying that, I had a chat with Michelle today, who is also a faculty member for this program, and you know Michelle very well. She said
Yeah.
that she has put together a small group of coaches that they are working towards ACT. Miss Michelle, of course, achieved her ACTC recently.
I am in her group, so
Are
we've
you?
been
Okay.
working together. Yes, yes, yes.
Fantastic. So, colleagues, if any of you are looking for a place to help each other, support each other, one of our colleagues who is also a faculty member of this program, Michelle Ascott, she has a little group which Catherine is part of. Feel free to let us know. We are happy to connect you. It's a complimentary accountability group, I believe. So, you're very welcome to join them if you would like to also be part of that group if you're working towards ACTC. We really love the community aspect, so we honor your presence here and we want to support you in any way we can. Thank you. Next, shall we hear from Magna?
Yes, good evening. I'm in Bangkok, Thailand. I'm graduated for IPAC, like energy leadership, in executive coach, and I'm covering Bangkok and Singapore. And the reason I'm here, I just launched something to call 90 minutes intervention, micro intervention. That's for, quick fix for small problem or big problem for companies and so.
Fantastic. Wonderful to have you here, Magna. If you don't mind, we asking the capacity that you are delivering your work or services. Do you also operate as a coach?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
You do.
I'm a certified coach, yes, and also do workshop.
Fantastic. Thank you. Felice, would you like to go next?
Sorry. Hi, this is Filiz. I'm joining from Istanbul, and I love these webinars. I think they're such a great contribution to coaching community, and I try not to miss them. So thank you for that. I'm a trainer and the PCC coach, and I'm interested in integrating group and team coaching into my work. So that's why I'm interested in this webinar. This is what I can share for the time being.
Fantastic, Felice. Of course, you have been an integral part of our community.
Thank
Very
you.
often I see you in our sessions, so wonderful to have
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you very much for joining us today. All right, we see that Idris is joining us. Idris, how are you? Would you like to briefly introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm actually working. I'm in the office, so I may not be able to talk much. But yes, I just finished my ACC trainings, and then I also had a quick couple of days ago. I had a session on team coaching and group coaching, and voila, this is something that you guys are working on today. So it's just basically links and aligns everything together. So this is my first time as well, and I'm looking forward to this. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for joining us. Next, I see Ignur or Ignur. Sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong.
Hi, thank you, firstly. My name is İknur Sözeri. I'm a career and executive coach with a background in economics. I focus leadership, development, and group coaching, and students and talent management. Thank you. I live in Cairo.
Wonderful. With your STEAM background, we clearly see why the interest towards group and team coaching. Thank you for joining with us. Appreciate.
Thank you.
And then I see Denisa. Would you like to share a brief introduction of yourself?
Yes, hello, I'm Denisa. I'm connecting from Belgium, Brussels. Now I'm in the course of obtaining my PCC credentials for transformational and mindset coaching. And for me, it would be interesting to see more about how to apply also this mindset in the context of a team coaching or group one.
Fantastic. Thank you for joining us, Denisa. Appreciate. Then I see Effie. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Fernando. I hope you can see me. My name is Effie Ochieng. I'm from Nairobi, Kenya. I work for Kenya Airways. I support talent development in Kenya Airways. And I just recently got my ACC, and I can't wait to learn more from these sessions around group coaching, because currently we are doing leader coaches in my organization, but now I would like to explore group coaching, and happy to be here. Back to you, Fernando.
Fantastic, Effie. Congratulations with your recent ACC, and very welcome. And we hope we can create some value and some key takeaways from this session today. Thank you for joining us. Anna, would you like to go next?
Yeah, hi. Now you can see me. Hi, Anna. I am based in Darmstadt. I am recently certified as of last week, Tuesday, so exactly 1 week ago, as an ACTC. And I am an ACC holder for over a year, and I am an independent coach and consultant. And my focus is primarily biotech and pharmaceutical leadership teams or project teams, and neurodiversity. So I myself as a neurodivergent person, and I like to support people on their path to becoming aware and supported as in their path. I am originally from the former Soviet Union, so I was born and raised in Siberia. And I live in Germany now, having lived also in Italy and in the United States. So kind of have covered parts of the globe, and I hope to see some more of it.
Fantastic, Anna. What a great background. And also congratulations with the recent ACTC. Now, as an ACTC holder, this conversation, your insights will be extremely valuable to us. So we look forward to learning from you. So for an example, I am not an ACTC credential. So you have more depth and experiences around that. So I'm excited to learn from your experiences. Thank you. And then we have Ajay here. Ajay, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hello, everyone. Greetings of the day. I'm joining from Rayong, Thailand. I'm working with an organization. I'm a Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt, and my area of work is in continuous improvement and operational excellence. So I joined this session. I think the concept of group and team coaching definitely would be helpful for me. So looking forward to today's session.
Fantastic. What a great background, Ajay. Please share your insights as a leader in working with leaders, working with organizations. So very excited to learn from all of you and create a valuable dialogue today. If I missed any of you, please come forward and introduce yourself. All right. So as we do that, I would like to let's create a little bit of path forward to our session today. And then since we are talking about group and team coaching, which is pretty much hands-on, let's create a little bit of engagement. If you are in a space that you can get involved and then have a conversation with your colleagues, let's do a little bit of breakout rooms and create some discussions, sharing your insights, so we can learn from everyone. So colleagues, welcome to Ignite Global. And as you're aware, we are an ICF accredited coach education provider. We deliver level 1, level 2, level 3 education. At the same time, we position ourselves as a specialized coach education provider. In fact, we are very humble to mention you that we have pioneered several specializations of coaching. And for now, when I say we have pioneered group and team coaching, that might not sound much, but I want to let you know that we created this program, Group and Team Coaching Mastery Certification, which is a dual certification, which also leads to the organizational development specialist using a coaching approach even before ICF introduced the team coaching competency framework. So in that sense, we pioneered the group and team coaching way before ICF introduced the group and team coaching. Years before, about 4 years before, ICF actually accredited this program. At the time, the name was Organizational Development Specialist, using a coaching approach, focusing on group and team coaching. And when ICF introduced the team coaching competency, what we noticed is that the ICF competency was pretty narrow in comparison to what we had within our program. And when we applied for the reaccreditation, this as a level 2 program, we've received very well. ICF approved our program very quickly. It's a dual certification, and at the same time, it is also leading to 2 credentials as well, ICF credentials as well. We will share this information in a bit. This is just a very brief introduction. So this is Professional Coaching Mastery Certification for coaching groups and teams. It leads to both PCC and team coaching, ACTC, Advanced Certification in Team Coaching. So with that brief introduction, I would like to bring your attention to a little bit of insight. So if we look at complexity of different types of coaching that we deliver in a scale, if one-on-one coaching, we know that one-on-one coaching is not something simple to do, we know that. But if we started one-on-one coaching as our starting point, if we look at where we place group coaching and team coaching, you will notice that group coaching appears to be closer to one-on-one coaching. And then in terms of complexity, in comparison to one-on-one coaching, group coaching is closer to one-on-one coaching. And then when it comes to team coaching, the complexity evolves further. And then you also see that there's a gap between the group coaching and team coaching. Now, the interesting thing is that within this gap, there are so many elements, so many different types of groups that are both public, both as well as internal, that falls within this gap that you see, or the space that you see here. So may I invite potentially some of our colleagues to share with us, what do you believe is the definition of group coaching, or what is a group in simple terms? It doesn't need to be an industry definition. What do you understand by the idea of group coaching? Phyllis, over to you.
In group coaching, there's not a shared goal, but in team coaching, there's a shared goal for a group of people, mainly working together, maybe.
Oh, that's a very good insight. Thank you. Who would like to add further? Thank you, Phyllis. Anything to add there?
In groups, quite often there's a hierarchy, that there is a head of the group and there is the people who are reporting to that person. And in teams, hierarchy quite often doesn't play a role, because people can come from different hierarchical levels, working on one's for project, for example, or an initiative or a product development. And the hierarchical levels disappear.
Beautiful. Thank you, Anna. Any other insights?
I also believe a group should be most commonly over 5 people, 5 to 10 people.
Oh, yes, a specific number that stipulates a group, and sometimes there are even technical standards. Please. Sorry, all right, okay. Thank you. Yes, sometimes there are even technical standards when we call a specific unit as a group or team. We see Carmen joining us. Welcome, Carmen. We just started the session and great to have you. So now that we are gaining some understanding about a group, what is a group, let's also talk about a team. What do you understand as a team?
People working together towards a common objective.
There you are, working towards a common objective. I think that that's spot on. What else would you like to add, colleagues?
Well, as I recently had the certification, I can rattle down the whole list of things to you. But there is one of the things that's quite important in the team is having a common goal and holding each other accountable and having a trust within the team. If you really are talking about a real team and not about like a group of people that wants to be a team. Yeah.
Brilliant. Very valuable. Thank you. Anything else, colleagues? Thank you. All right. So with that, let us then have a quick, let's wrap this up. Let's sum it up with a little bit of technical understanding how ICF and also the industry definitions as well, which will be helpful for us to continue the further understanding. So we know that when we consider a group, it's a collection of individuals, the common expectations, interests, goal, or a journey. And very well, as you said, the goal is achieved mostly individually. They do not necessarily achieve any goal together. They have a common expectations, common interest. Like for an example, if you look at this image, this is not a group coaching environment, but we are looking at a group environment. So these intelligent, wonderful women come from around the world all together to participate in Miss Universe pageant. And it's natural that they work together, they learn together, they do certain activities together, but not everyone can win. Only one person can really achieve the goal of them being there. But since it is a competition context, only one person can win. But if you look at some other situation like this, let's think about this as a women leadership development group, right? So all of these individuals came from different backgrounds, and maybe they belong to different organizations, they belong to different areas of interest. They come together, but their common goal is leadership development. But as they develop as a leader, the impact or how they will achieve goals will be individualistic. So they might go back to their organization and provide leadership, or they might go back to their community and provide leadership, and so on. So I think these two examples give us a good understanding of what is a group. The key area here we need to remember is they have a common interest, goal, or a common purpose, but they achieve their goals, so they execute their learning from what they learn within the group individually. And then when we look at group coaching, then we understand it's that when the group come together, they offer support, inspiration, learning to maximize individual abilities. And they make their achievements independently. Very well, you shared this, right? So we look at what is a team. In very simple team, it's a group of people with common purpose. You very well said that. They have a shared goal. They most of the time work independently, but in a shared context. They have a common purpose, they have a shared goal or goals, and most of the time they work independently in a shared context. They need each other. Like for an example, accountability, you said. When we talk about effective teams, there are so many layers of attributes of an effective team. It's because of this shared context. And if you look at a very simple team example, you know that the football teams, I don't think I had to explain anything. We know that not one single player will win in this game, right? Unlike the beauty pageant that we saw earlier, everyone has to come together to be able to create the victory. So the shared goal, common purpose, they may have different specializations, right? These different players are positioned in different places in the game, and they have their own special ways how they contribute to the team. Yet they work in a shared context, and they all achieve together. When they achieve together. Now that's once again not a team coaching situation, but let's look at a real team in terms of the kind of professionals, organizations that we would work with. So this, obviously, as you can see, this is a heart surgery. And imagine the kind of collaboration, co-creation, specializations that each one need to have in order to come together. But at the same time, they have a very clear shared context, a very clear goal in order to support this patient. And they work together to achieve this goal, which is saving the life of this person. And this is the kind of potential teams that you might work with. If you are working in healthcare industry, then potentially you might even be coaching surgical teams, for an example. All right. So then, obviously, the team coaching is a co-creative, reflective process, very much foundationally being the uh, core competency and then elevated competency. So there are dynamics relationships, uh, creating dynamics relationships to maximize their abilities potential so that they can achieve a shared goal. So this is the idea. And one thing that we always need to keep in mind as a team coach is that we treat the entire team as one client. In a team coaching environment, we only have one client, right? We are very aware of this. So I'm going to, I did not necessarily mean to turn this into a teaching context. Actually, what happened is today, colleagues, just in my full transparency, some of the faculty members were not able to meet due to some challenges that they're experiencing. Some of them are health challenges. Some of them have some electric problems, considering you probably know the situation at the moment with fuel and gas and so on. Nevertheless, we have Antanas in this space, and I'm here, and then we will continue to discuss this. So let's look a little bit into now. The next question is we look into a little bit groups. So the theme that we have been addressing so far is that the groups are complex than how they just simply appear to be. If that's the case, what are the kind of groups that you may have come across in organizations, either you as a leader or you as part of being in the groups? What are the types of groups that you find in organizations?
C-suite quite often. The C-suite is quite often the one that has wants to be a leadership team, but they are usually a group of people.
There you are. Very interesting. Great example. What else, colleagues? Would you like to elaborate a little bit why that they are not a team?
Well, in a real team, everybody does the work, the actual work that needs to be done. And in a C-suite, quite often all the work is being delegated down. They are just meeting to update each other. They don't really like roll up their sleeves and do the work that needs to be done unless it's an extraordinary situation.
The fantastic insight. So if we are to consider a unit of people as a team, they need to get their hands dirty. They need to actually do the actual work by themselves. If they don't, then they are not a real team. That's what Anna is saying. Like for an example, XCOM, right? If you simply think about the executive team, you notice that they are really not, we call it executive team very often in organizations, depending on where you are and the kind of organization. But now we know that they are really not a team, real team. Why? Because they are not executing the work themselves. Their real work is delegation, if you really come to think of it. So when from the board, the organizational strategy is handed down to them, and then they are responsible for executing the strategy within the organization. Each one, like whether it is CFO, CHRO, COO, name it, they would go back to their teams and then they will start delegating this higher strategy, but they wouldn't necessarily get their hands dirty and do necessarily the work to achieve the organizational goals. And also we keep in mind when the association, if not when the unit is organizational wide, we do not consider an organizational wide unit as a team either. So it's quite nuanced if you come to think of it. What else, colleagues? What other groups are you aware of? What would we call such not a real team? Then what would we call them?
To my mind come like, in organization we have task force group, right? That are put together and so on. And also project groups.
Exactly.
Because they're working on one project. They might not work together on all projects, but they assign to that particular project.
But those can also be team depending on the demands and depending on the work that has to be done. But at the same time, sometimes those are called teams, but then in reality they are groups. So it is very, very
Yeah, exactly.
it's a narrow line that needs to be walked between group and team,
Yeah.
and quite often there is an actual dynamic happening between depending on the current demands that are happening. So sometimes a team needs to be team, and in certain situations where the leader needs to be stepping in and saying, okay, we're doing it like this, we're not a team right now, there's things that need to be done. This is when they become a group. And this dynamic switching back and forth in the most highly efficient teams happening, from what I've learned in my previous education as a team coach, is basically it's 80% team, 20% group. This is the highest efficient teams out there.
In cooperation, I think I will put together a group based on their special, what they specialized in. So depending on the problem, you will put or the challenge, you will put down a group, not with random people, but you will assign people who have the knowledge and expertise to, for example, that problem solving issue.
Yeah, I agree. And it's not necessarily, they don't have to be always, let's say, the best friends or have the actual team dynamics in there. They just need to accomplish certain tasks, deliver it, and be done with that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why they're called project teams as well, because at the end of the project, the team is disbanded, the group is disbanded, and everybody finds their way. Whereas in a team, you stick together, you grow together, you do everything together.
Yeah, but the thing is, the word team is being used quite inflationary in the corporate environment. Like there's so many teams by name, but in name only, but not in reality. Yeah.
Exactly.
But in project, you have the project team, which is the whole project department, and then there are different groups within the department. Depends on what they work in. They specialize on commercial, hotel, or office building, whatever. So that's how do you split them into groups?
Thank you, colleagues. What a rich exploration. Thank you. And you're very accurate in saying that. And the more we discuss, the more we realize that how nuanced the different units within an organization, associations within an organization, and how nuanced approach we would have to take as we approach them. And that is also why it is very important that we learn group and team coaching technically. Like for an example, very often some professionals who operate as team coaches or group coaches, very often we see that they are doing facilitation, not really coaching, facilitation, teaching, training. Still, like remember when we all first got into the coaching world, there was a paradigm shift that was happening, which was really learning that the awareness comes from the client in individual coaching. So that was a paradigm shift for many of us. And earlier, some of us might have thought coaching is also kind of facilitation, mentoring, advising. And when we became a individual coach, we noticed that that's not the case. And that same thing is happening in the group and team environment as well. There are many professionals who identify themselves as group and team coaches and then doing facilitation, mentoring, advising, training, and similar things. Interesting thing is that the approach continues. So we create that you need to evoke the awareness within themselves and take the actions by themselves. And I would like to maybe potentially bring your attention to what just happened in the room. Now, when we focus on, just before I share these insights, colleagues, did you notice what just happened in the team, how you were collaborating with each other? If you focus on team coach specific communication, what kind of team coaching specific communication was happening in the room a minute ago before I started speaking? Maybe we'll ask Antanas. Antanas has a beautiful smile. He teaches this component in the class, so he's the expert. So we'll ask him. Antanas, over to you.
What happened, at least what I'm seeing now, like there were no Fernanda in the center, yeah. So we were collaborating between each other, yeah. It was one person sharing, then another contributing to it, then a questioning. So that's the coach role, I believe, yeah, in facilitating communication. One of important role. So we are not in the center of the team, in the center of the group. So that's what happened. At least that's what I saw, and I really appreciate for this experience. Yeah.
Thank you, Antana. Spot on,
What
right?
else? Yeah. What else?
Looks, I saw that you also had a great smile as you were talking about that.
I was just thinking how natural the collaboration came to them, Fernando. They all resonated with each other, and also how they shared the space. No one was like cutting off anyone, but how beautifully they synchronized between their thoughts and the time that they took to share, and also the space that they shared together. And it made me realize, sorry, I was just observing how also as a practitioner, as a facilitator, as a coach, how aware that we need to be of group and team communication dynamics.
Exactly, looks, you captured a lot of great insight there. Catherine, anything to add there? See a nice smile there.
I think for me, the other thing was just the flow of the engagement. Without the coach's intervention, the flow from one person to another, to the other person sharing what they're saying, and then being able to align what each person is saying to say, yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I mean, we're saying the same thing. So you could see that happening without the coach having to jump in to say, okay, are we bringing these thoughts together? The thoughts were able to come together, and even what they were saying be able to align together.
Exactly. So thank you, colleagues, for filling in. Your insights are very, very valuable. And let's think about it. If you combine this idea and think about one of the key elements, as Antana has mentioned, key elements of team coaching, group and team coaching. Usually, when we have been in the one-on-one coach role, obviously the coach speak, the client speak, coach speak, client speak. So it's just back and forth. If you think about it as passing a ball, you pass the ball and you receive the ball back. And sometimes when we have that experience as individual coaches and we are changing the paradigm to become group and team coaches, we tend to take that role again, which means that we have a ball, we pass it to one member, the member pass it back to us, and then pass it to another member, the member pass it back to the coach, and then back to the member, back to the coach. Now, if this is happening, if for an example, if you submitted a coaching recording like this to your coach education provider or ICF, it will not receive a passing score. Why? Because the coach is in the center. It's very important to remove the coach from the center. We call it disappearing into the background. Coach has the ability to disappear in the background and creating the conversation engagement within themselves. Why is that very important? We need to keep in mind when we are operating in the if you compare again with individual coaching, when when a coaching client engage with us in a coaching engagement, our expectation is not for this client to work with us for the rest of their life. We know that then we are creating a dependency. The actual intention of the coach is to, as soon as enable the client to build the coaching mindset, enable the coaching mindset so the client could coach themselves. That's the real, like when we look at the higher level coaching the person, really empowering the client's autonomy is what the focus is. So very similarly, when we are talking about a unit as a set of individuals in a group or a team, also, the expectation very similar here. Rather than coach being in the center, creating a dependency, we create coherence within the team in a way that they could coach each other even if you stepped out of the coaching role. That is building group and team coaching mindset, cohesive mindset, and then we step out so that they can continue to coach themselves. So that is one of the, I would say, now in individual coaching is one of the high level outcomes. But in group and team coaching, it's a low level outcome, by the way. There are several layers of outcomes the group and team coach is expected to curate, and this is one of the lower level outcomes. So I invite you to think, what do you think are the other levels? as well, right? Since the conversation is not about that, so I'm going to invite us to now look at, since we are talking about complexities of groups today, not necessarily fully about teams, I'm going to invite you to first introduce generally different types of groups and teams that can be potential in an organization. And then I would like to invite you to maybe differentiate what are some similarities and differences between these different units. So let's look at the Katzenbat and Smith model from 1993. So this is not necessarily in any way the only model to look at different types of groups and teams, where they are placed and so on, but we'll just simply look at, if you compare performance, impact, and team effectiveness within different units in an organization, there are many different types of terminologies that are available. External groups. And then you mentioned many different types of groups, like the skill focus groups, project management groups, change management groups, executive teams, the boards, many different types of units and associations. So when we look at performance, impact, and team effectiveness, we see that there are many different elements within these two conundrums: working groups, potential teams, effective teams, real teams, high performing teams, and so on. And through this evolution, there's something always changing. There's something always improving and creating that right cohesion. So as a group and team coach, it's very important for us to recognize who are these people, as when they are presented to you as a unit. Who are these people? What kind of association do they have? What are some of the dynamics? And how do I approach coaching them with the right approach because of the uniqueness of that specific group or the team? So what we shall do today is those organizational groups, right? All those organizational groups, let's agree to call them working groups or work groups. And then let's compare external groups with work groups. So what you would do in a minute, I'm going to divide the room into two breakout rooms, and one of the groups will discuss what is external groups versus working groups, what are the similarities and differences. And then the next breakout room will discuss what are the working groups versus teams, right? So that way we can understand the complexities a little bit. And then I would like to invite Antanas to share some experiences himself as a business coach, and then also stepping into the business and operating as a team coach, some of his experiences. And then he also, earlier when we just catch up a few minutes before, and then he was telling me this really wonderful story about how the technological changes, the AI, is playing a role in teams, organizations within his experiences. And he had some really powerful insights, and we would love to hear them as well, Antanas, in a minute. So now let me quickly share with you a few examples so that you gain some understanding to how to create this differentiation. So external groups versus working groups. So if we simply look at the previous people that we looked at, the previous group, so it can be a public speaking group, it can be a leadership development group, but they came from different organizations. And it can be a business incubator. I believe in Antanas's work as a business coach, he probably creates business incubators, right? So they can be some type of external groups. They are external. They can also be considered as public groups, mostly because we announce it to the external world, not to a specific organization. So different organization might send their members of the organization to be in this engagement, a group engagement, but not necessarily it's a team. We understand that external groups. Like for an example, I conduct retreats, healing retreats, spiritual retreats, corporate retreats that are more towards expansion of consciousness and things like that. So very often I have two types of groups. Sometimes I get a client, maybe 5 people, 6 people from an organization, which is not an external group. And I also sometimes have cohorts where different professionals come together as a group from different organizations to work together and develop external groups. And then let's look at a working group. So the board members, as we said, change management team, they are within the organization and they're doing something within the organization. I'm not going to explain that because that's going to be what you're going to do in the breakout rooms. So what one of your groups will discuss is external groups versus working groups, differences and similarities. And then, of course, if we very quickly compare working groups with real teams, something that we have under, if you look at few examples, now we know the board members, change management team, task force, sometimes even project teams, with the distinction, sometimes they also can be a real team as well. And then if you look at real teams, they can be something like FBI teams, astronomers in a space mission, a surgical team like that. Like I'm talking about quite high level teams. These are effective, sometimes even transpersonal teams or maybe transpersonal leadership teams. I'm bringing you awareness to somewhat highly capable teams. Highly developed teams in this case, when we look at something like FBI teams, astronomers, HR team, we can say, finance team, we can say, if we generalize. All right, so with that, now we have some examples in mind. May I create the breakout rooms and then invite a little short reflection? Let's create two breakout rooms and we will have Antanas and Lux also join in. And so we have Carmen. Hi, Carmen, welcome. Effie, Phyllis, Idris, Ignore, and we have an iPad Pro. Feel free to change your name so that we know who you are. And Magna, you will be discussing external groups, if not public groups, versus working groups, work groups. And then we have Ajay, Anna, Antanas, Catherine, Luke, Susan. You will discuss work groups versus teams, similarities and differences. Then you come back. If you can appoint someone from your team to share the information, that would be great. So considering we have limited time, let's allocate 7 minutes. Instructions clear? Okay, here we go. Thank you, colleagues. I was fortunate to listen to a very enriching conversation in group one. So let's invite our group members from the group who discuss external groups versus work groups. Would you like to share your insight?
I'll say, so we had that very interesting discussion around exactly what makes a work group and what makes an external group. And then I think in conclusion, we said an external group is when you just put people together, professional specialists from different areas to deliver on a particular project, like contractors. So they deliver, and once they deliver, they leave. So they have the same theme, which is basically to deliver on a particular project. Then, each one has his own individual goal. Whereas a work group is more like the change management, for instance. So we are all employees, or at least we have common interests, and then we go in, we deliver help like a change. If I look at the change management as an example, so there is a transition going on in a part of the organization. You invite the change management group, which is again within the
To Idris, or is
organization.
it me?
Sorry?
Oh, all right. My internet connection. Thank you, Idris. Please
yeah.
continue.
Yeah, so the change management. So you pull them in to help with the transition, and once they deliver, they go back to their core role within the organization. Don't know if anybody has anything to add.
No, that's
Sorry,
pretty much what we talk about.
Thank you. Thank you, and Magna, and also thank you. As you discuss this topic, especially the work groups, external groups, you also expanded it. So I'm going to invite us to recognize maybe even a complexity within external groups as well. I think when you approached external groups, it sounded like you approached the external group from an organizational perspective. So for an example, when you say a contractor, investor, something like that, you approach it as if you are within the organization. So a group of people, if not a specific outsider, a collective set of people coming to deliver a service or engaging with the organization. So you're right, it is an external group, quite literally in that sense. You are the organization, a group from outside is delivering some kind of a service or supporting, so we call it an external group. Very understandable. So it's really, really interesting if you got an opportunity to coach this bunch of people. It almost sounded like that the organization hired you. It's almost like you are hired by the organization and coach these people. And that can happen very often, colleagues. It's a very classic external group. Sometimes there was a time that once we were working with an automobile organization, and they had an external service provider. However, the organization was not um, satisfied with this external provider's performance. The external provider does not have a coaching culture. They do not know much about coaching. But the automobile company, they have a strong coaching culture. They use coaching as one of their highest level people development interventions. So they contacted us and said, because we are delivering services to them already as team coaching, group coaching, building culture, they contacted us and said, can you do the same thing that you do with our teams, with our external group, this consultant that we have hired, this service provider, because we would like to make them also efficient. And it was so well aligning, because we were working within teams, and you know that when you work with a team, you are directly working with the team, but you're also responsible for enabling the seamless stakeholder management as well. So in that case, we were able to combine it in a way that the specific team who was receiving the service from this external group, they were one of their stakeholders. So it was very easy for us to bridge the gap and coach this external group and the external group had their mind blown when they found out about the coaching approach. So that's a great classic example that you brought among all the beautiful insights that you shared. Thank you, colleagues. And when we talk about external groups, there's also different type of external group without looking at it from organizational perspective. But if you looked at it from coach perspective, meaning if you are the coach, you don't belong to a specific organization. You are not part of an organization. Think about yourself as an independent coach. If you are an independent coach, you can offer signature programs, like maybe it's something to do with savings group, some kind of a group coaching, leadership development, some kind of a group coaching, spiritual development focus, public speaking related group coaching. You can do that kind of group coaching as well. So in your dialogue, you also differentiated very well the public groups as a coach, the service you will offer, an external group which will be offering a specific service or support to an organization. So that's a really expansion, even beyond what I expected. Well done, team. Thank you. Now let's hear from other group who discuss work groups versus teams. Over to you.
Well, it seems like everybody wanted to give it to me since they said it in the beginning because I'm the most recent ACTC. And nobody wants to speak up. We talked about groups and how they are different in the dynamics, and there was a big question that came up about like what's the point of differentiating? What's the point of differentiating as a coach if it's a group or if it's a team? And why would we even bother to do that? If they need to be coached, they need to be coached. And this is where I pointed out is like there's different needs between a team and a group that they have. And if you want to be a team, there is a price comes along with that. That needs more commitment. It needs more involvement that a pure group would have. But when you previously showed this graph from this Wisdom of Team books that I also posted in the chat, that's currently my favorite book on teamwork. And there you see in this graph that if you look at the group, there is a certain level of performance that the group can achieve. But if you look at the team, like even a potential team is already at the level of a group of performance that can be achieved. But when you go to a real team, the level of performance becomes even higher. But if you go to an extreme situation where you have a high performing team, and I think the book even don't calls them a high performing team because every real team wants to call themselves high performing. They're being called as extraordinary teams, and only about 30% max make it to that level. But when you get them there, you achieve results that are beyond what would be expected from a group. And that's let's say my summary. And I would like to invite my teammates to add anything to that because like, I'm preaching my own thing to the choir, and I just want to make sure that I didn't miss anything from my team. Antanas is shaking his head, and nobody else is speaking up. So
Yeah, you covered perfectly. So that's what my shaking head is it means. Yeah. So thank you for these insights and actually open questions to us, which we can reflect later on. Yeah.
Fantastic. That's a very good question you asked at the beginning, Anna, and your team. Thank you, team. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Antanas, for the insights. Yes, like why bother? Right now, well, of course, you yourself provided the answer, you found the answer, and I will very quickly walk you through these 2 slides, and then I would love to hear a little bit real world experiences from Antanas. So let's look at a very quick comparison. Colleagues, when we approach group and team coaching, we need to keep in mind a little bit of a disclaimer that nothing is set in stone. The reason is it is an area that is still developing. Therefore, these are ideas that are most general at the same time. In reality, the situation might be different. And in fact, that is the case. The importance of having a wider understanding of what these different, how to differentiate these, give you some understanding. And then when you go to organizations, one thing I have noticed in my personal experience is that it's never really what we learn in the book. Once you are in the environment, it's really dynamic, really complex. So having some understanding of how to differentiate these different units and then how to engage with them provide us um, some level of grounding to be able to work with these different units that we are faced with. And also another important thing that I would like to remind you, that as team coaches or group coaches, we don't go to an organization and imply that, oh, you're an effective team, you're a high performing team, you are only a working group, you are a pseudo team. We do not label them like that. Like we would not label our individual clients, we do not label our clients. Like also what Anna said, they like to say that they are effective teams, they like to say that they are in the top level effectiveness as of leadership, whatever that they say, right? So we listen to that and we try to understand, okay, so how did you gauge yourself to be this? What are your parameters? Let's understand them and then find out whether they're interested to learn a little bit about the industry standards and then see where they are in that industry standard, for an example, right? So this is not in any way to put people into a box and try to put us putting them into the box. It's rather having a good understanding of what boxes could exist and how these boxes also could evolve and also come together. So you're starting to recognize the more we learn about group and team coaching technically, it gives us more awareness how to work within complex dynamic environments, which might not necessarily just fit into a box. All right, just a very simple, quick one, right? So we just looked at this. So if you look at external groups versus working groups, now we are talking about external group here as a public group, right? You are offering, let's say you're offering a leadership development group coaching offer. It's a signature offer. It's not an external unit. It's your advertising. You in your marketing, you say anyone who would like to develop leadership, like maybe you have a specific criteria, right? You are a mid manager or you're a senior leader. If you're looking at developing your leadership, you're most welcome. So there may be someone coming from organization A, organization B, organization C. There may also be someone who is going through a transition, someone who has taken a break from work. They want to come together, and this is a public group, right? In this case, this external group is a public group. So you understand the leadership is provided individually, right? There is no leader, if you notice, in an external group like that. They are individually responsible for leadership. If you compare with work groups, there is strong, clear, focused leadership. Like you mentioned earlier, change management. When we usually approach change management, we understand that different members of different departments come together, and often we have a change management consultant, can be external or internal, and that person leads this group in terms of understanding the organizational wide change, maybe downsizing or maybe combining another organization. So when there's a change management process is happening, it's important that there's someone who provides strong leadership, focused leadership. But they are clearly not a team, you understood, because they came, HR unit, there's a person coming. Finance unit, there's a come. Operations unit, there's someone. Actuarial unit, there's someone coming through. So when different people come into this specific group, let's say change management, you notice they are not really a team. They are going to achieve an organizational wide group or organizational wide change. Like in this case, let's say downsizing the organization, right? So you notice that it's not a team really, although they have a shared goal. It's an organizational wide group. The moment it's organizational wide group, we do not consider them as a team. And then if you come back to organization, external groups, similar group, a similar goal as a group, specific goal as individuals. One might come because they are going to be promoted to the next level, and one might come because they are having a transition. So they would like to develop themselves. There is no direct expectation out of it, and so on. And if you look at the work group, however, you notice that the group's purpose, just like I said, it's the same as organizational mission or organizational spontaneous some kind of a execution. And then work produced doesn't impact the group members, right? One person might go and lead their teams very well in their organization. That's not necessarily going to directly impact the entire group. And then if you look at the work group, individual work products, that was very accurate when you said that earlier, right? That would naturally mean if you are the member from the change management, if you are in change management group, let's say change management group as a member, maybe you have come from HR, you have come from finance, so you are the representative of your department. So you need to go back to your department and then again delegate that engagement, that specific formed group that we are in, right? So let's look at one more. Creates inspiration, learning, and accountability as a group within the external group. And on the other hand side, runs effective agenda-based meeting. They have very clear KPIs that they may be expected to achieve, a clear outcomes focused. So you're starting to notice that if we try to approach an external group, if we use the external group approach with a work group, now we are starting to recognize it's not going to work because they are completely different. One set of people come to create inspiration, learning, and accountability. The other groups comes with effective agenda-based meetings. So very different, right? So these slides will be available to you. So I'm not going to go through each of it. And then let's move on to understanding next one. So work groups and real teams, right? In a work group, there's a hierarchy, as you noticed. In a real team, when we talk about effective and real teams, there is leadership. There's clear leadership in a team as well. But that leadership is not necessarily need to be hierarchical as such. Everyone is motivated. Everyone is encouraged to take shared leadership. Because why? They are contributing a specific, unique, most of the time, a unique contribution. When they do so, it's important that they are able to provide leadership to that unique intervention that they're developing. As you may know, colleagues, right? When we are talking about a team to effective team, one of the indicators of effective team is that the resource mobilization is quite individualized. That means we don't repeat the same position over and over again within a team. They are very specialized in what they do. So providing shared leadership is important within a team. And then we notice that in a work group, its group's purpose often similar to, not always, don't get me wrong, organizational mission, very often organizational mission. But real team, their purpose is different from the broad organizational goal. It's a sum of individual team members' objectives that contribute. Like to share an example, when it comes to change management, you notice that it's downsizing the organization, the focus of the organizational mission. But if you look at a real team, if you think about simply like finance team, you know that change management is not their focus. They need to really focus on finance team. How do they perform within the organization? They have a very clear goal. Now, let's say this organization, this company's mission, this team, right? We are talking about the finance team of a company. Let's think about this company as a company who produce soda, right? Some kind of a soda. The organizational mission is to sell soda, but the finance team's focus is not about selling soda, right? Finance team needs to focus on the financial aspects of the company. So we are clearly seeing that a team has a very specific objective, and then also within the team, there are different objectives for people who are in the team. And then if you look at work groups, individual work products, and in real team, collective work products. Like notice, right? Change management group. One person go back to HR team, one person goes back to operation team, and they implement what is required to do the change management process. So individual work produces products in their own teams. But if you look at teams, finance team, you cannot perform as a finance team if we worked alone. It's important that they need to come together to perform. Maybe let's discuss one more considering the time. The work groups meet when necessary. Do they have agenda-based meetings? They do, but they only meet when necessary. They have agenda-based meeting, and the agenda is already in the schedule, and everyone meets when it is scheduled and necessary. But if you look at the real team, they require ongoing problem solving. They do also have agenda-based meetings, of course, any team, but at the same time, they meet on a regular basis. Like, it's very normal an accountant to go to the CFO and talk, and then CFO to come and speak to maybe audits, because they need to collaborate on an ongoing basis. So if we just simply look at this, the differences, the question that Anna answered, the answer that she gave become very clear to us. So we cannot necessarily use the approach that we used with work groups, the same the approach towards the real team. We have to have a different approach. And then if you look at real teams evolution, right? Effective teams, transformational teams, transformational leadership teams, and even these teams, we will have to approach differently because they have different attributes, different ways of working, dynamics, and strengths. So as a professional coach, if you're working with groups and teams, you're starting to recognize how important it is to understand these differences. And if you come to think of it, this is just a mere scratching the surface. Groups and teams are very complex, and understanding them at a depth is very important before we step into organizational environment. So, since we wanted to discuss about the complexities, group and team coaching, I think we have scratched the surface today and understood some insights. So, with that, I'm going to stop this sharing now, and maybe let's hear from Antanas a bit. Antanas, since you work as a business coach and also a team coach, give us some insights from your practice. How do you apply them practically?
Yeah, thank you, Fernando, for insight, and thank you, group, for insight. So actually, yeah, I would say that external group and real teams is now my clients. Yeah, so and I will just share some thoughts, how this course helped me, to grow my business, to grow my impact during, after this course. So, in my daily practice, I was usually working with the business owners one-on-one. So that's before the program. We focused on leadership, decision making, strategy, all these topics in the business. But after some time, we discovered that, and I hope you will reflect, that the real challenge sometimes not the leader, but the system around the leader. And then the team coaching becomes, really the next step for me. So then the leader said, okay, because the many topics he bringing to the coaching session is his team. Okay, so then let's go for the team. And now it was really scale for my business just to start working with the team after the leader. So it was my high ticket, if we speak it in the business perspective. So instead of working with the business owner, we started to work with his team. How the team do decision, how the team communicate, how the team share responsibilities. And then in many cases, this journey becomes longer. Yeah, so at least we just finished with one team weekly meetings for 9 months. But then they are going to this high effective team, which you will learn through the course. And in the team coaching, what I really like, the value is not the coach, the value is, this collective learning. So that's one part. Another part, what I'm doing practically, is I'm doing this group coaching for the group of entrepreneurs. Previously, I was more facilitator, as Fernanda said today. Yeah, and everybody do facilitation in the market. Everybody comes. There are many trainers, mentors, but I would say that only few doing, group coaching for the entrepreneurs. And that was really as well. I'm saying that this is my, how to say it, main value proposition, the coaching. So that's how it helped. So to sum up, actually, what I'm sharing, I'm always saying that I'm helping for my clients to go through the, craftsman to the business owner. But the same happening in the coaching industry. Like from the coach as a craft, you can build the coaching business. And for me, the coaching business first step was this program. Maybe I'm, more focusing on the business just because, it's my topic. But I would say that even if it's not a business, it's a bigger impact. And I hope everybody will agree. Like when you are starting doing the team coaching, group coaching, you have bigger impact to the society. And that's what drives me. And thank you for this opportunity to share that. So, Fernanda, did I cover it's a next level for me, actually, really. And I really appreciate for this program and the opportunity now to learn from all of you here.
Thank you,
May
Antanas.
may
And
I
in
add
fact,
something? May I
Yeah,
add
Anna,
please.
something?
please. Yeah.
Yes, because I am just like you. I am, let's say, rather a new business builder, and I am building my business also in the, let's say, in the team coaching. But it's in the coaching. But it seems like team coaching is also the part that where companies are willing to take money into their hands. This is one of the most important factors. Like for individuals, not necessarily, but for teams, they're willing to take more money, and even like I have a commercial rate for companies, I have a non-commercial rate for non-for-profits, and in the case of my first non-for-profit customer, what I did is basically I offered them first, how about I give you 1 day for free, and then you experience how it is, and from that time on, they were hooked because they saw how much change happens once they interact with each other on a different level, and team facilitation workshop stuff is quite often just like um, it's an impulse, but it's not a sustainable change that you introduce into the teams. And team coaching is something that does not work in 1 day. This is something that needs to happen over time in small bites over and over and over and over. And there is a shift happening right now in quite often in the corporate environment where they understand that one workshop and it's done, that's not how it works. It needs to be done on a sustained manner on a regular basis, the small inputs here and there over time. And another actually recent just from yesterday that I had is that teams are so different. And yesterday I attended a space night dinner. So I live in Darmstadt, and in Darmstadt we have here a European Space Agency has its operational center. So, like when you say Houston, we have a problem, that NASA would say, the ESA says Darmstadt, we have a problem, because this operational control is happening here. And they have a lot of exciting scientists. And there was one scientist talking about exoplanets and how stellar systems are different. And I found it's a beautiful, beautiful metaphor that I would be using in my team coaching in the future. Because looking at our solar system that we have one bright star, we have rocky planets that are small rocky planets that are circling around it, and then we have giant gaseous planets that are on the outside. And we assumed for the longest time that this is how solar systems function. And what they discovered over the course of the last 30 years, that there are different type of solar systems out there. Some of them have 2 stars, and individual planets are circulating around those planets. Some of them have common planets. We assume that there has to be one bright star, but 70% out there don't have a bright star. They have a red dwarf that has a different dynamics within the planetary system, or they have they change in a way that sometimes out of 1 star the 2 star become evolve from that. So that's why you have gaseous giant on the inside and the rocky planets on the outside. And it gives me like this imagery of, we assume that a team has to be a team leader and there's some people circling around that and then it's going to be working. But if you look into the stars and aspire for the stars, there's different varieties of solar system and teams that can be out there. It can be one leader, it can be co-leadership, it can be 2 co-leaders developing somebody else coming into the team. And teams have always to do with growth. Teams, when people come into teams, they don't at the beginning know everything. They learn from each other, and this is how this solar system evolves and becomes more interesting and more exciting. So this is my philosophical addition to the session today.
Wow. Anna, love that. Yeah, thank you for this sustainable impact metaphor, and and all this what you shared at the end. Yeah, thank you. Fernanda, passing word to you.
Yeah, thank you, Antanas. Thank you, Antanas, for your insights and also especially the practical experiences and how you bring this to your real world practice. That's very valuable. And then also, Anna, thank you very much for the beautiful metaphor. It really just brought me to a different world altogether. Very beautiful metaphor. Indeed, I see how powerful it is. And it's a beautiful way to kind of conclude how complex it can be, but at the same time, how the dynamics, how they can be harmonized depending on the members of each team. So we are starting to recognize that teams are so unique. So when we approach them, having that awareness that every team is unique, and for every team, we need to also sort of change our approach is important. So therefore, having a good background knowledge is important. And that's why team coaching is so much more powerful than facilitation, for an example. And Anna herself said that, right? Like, for an example, if we simply come to think of it. Now, one of the outcomes of team coaching is conflict resolution. Now, facilitation process, unless conflict resolution focused, if we are doing a conflict resolution facilitation, we will resolve the problem. But if we are just delivering some kind of facilitation, maybe technicalities, maybe social emotional skills, leadership skills, that facilitation wouldn't necessarily resolve team conflicts or recognizing the importance of conflicting harmoniously. Now, however, when we engage with coaching beyond facilitation, we might be we might be delivering leadership coaching, maybe performance focus, maybe production focus, doesn't matter. By default, it will address the conflict resolution already. So we are starting to recognize how powerful it is. Yeah, so thank you very much for the insights. So colleagues, I think that this also is pretty much like our classes, Antanas, would you say that? The kind of conversation, the insights that come through, I'm almost like missing the group and team coaching classes, as we concluded our last cohort a while ago. And colleagues, if any of you are interested in taking group and team coaching qualification, and also moving towards ACTC, even PCC, we do have a program. So if you have a few more minutes, please bear with me. I'm happy to share this information. And if you would like to ask any questions or any information, we are happy to stay back and answer them. So let's dive in very quickly. We are Ignite Global, and as you're aware, we are ICF level 1, level 2, level 3 accredited. And this is one of our recent graduates in Bangkok, Thailand. And let's try to understand a little bit about this program. This is a dual certification. Like I mentioned earlier, we created this program first to begin with organizational development specialist using a coaching approach. So in other words, very often in organizations, there are consultants, those who come and provide a solution. What we instead do is we enable them to create their own solutions to their best abilities and achieve certain goals that they didn't even know were possible, or achieve impact transformation, like very well Anna mentioned, that we end up achieving outcomes that they never thought was possible. Therefore, once they see the power of team coaching, they are hooked. And it's very different from training, facilitation, and mentoring, advisory. We see that very clearly. So this program provides, especially if you're working in the coaching context, if you're working in organizations, providing them coaching solutions, there you receive this designation, organizational development specialist, utilizing a coaching approach. And of course, the underlying current, if not the moving pieces, the dynamics of this program comes from group and team coaching. So this is professional coaching, advanced mastery certification for coaching groups and teams. And when I say the advanced, I truly mean it. And I learned group and team coaching the hard way. About 10, 12 years ago, when I was working with organizations intensely, one of the things that I noticed that some of my mentors, my supervisors, highly experienced coaches were delivering team coaching already. So I became very curious to find out, like, what is team coaching? And I want to find out. At the time, there weren't really any program as such. So I worked as an apprentice. I received mentoring and supervision around team coaching. And I developed this framework long time ago based on my real world experiences. So that's how this really came to be. This program fundamentally came to be. So once ICF released their team coaching competence a few years ago, we created the second designation, which is professional coaching advanced mastery certification. Truly advanced, enabling you to not just only deliver team coaching, but enabling you to deliver organizational development interventions. Like for an example, just to give simple example, when we approach organizational development using a team coach approach, do you know that we never sign at once a team coaching um, contract? We first do a scoping contract. As an outcome of the scoping contract, we propose the team coaching contract, because when we focus on organizational development, there are so many moving pieces, and team coaching is robust. It's very important that we scope right. If we didn't do so, we might shoot in our own foot. We will end up burning ourselves out, and sometimes running maybe not having the enough resources if we did not scope very well. So understanding how to scope at the very beginning clearly is important. Another aspect, how do you connect return on investment with return on expectation? Because we cannot deliver return on investment directly as a tangible monetary value, because we are delivering coaching. We are not doing the work. We are not a consultant. We are not providing the solution. They are finding the solution. Therefore, they have expectations. So how do we match the gap? How do we understand the connection, right? So it's very important to understand clearly how do we do this kind of larger interventions with large organizations, and then also based on that knowledge, how do we also work with small organizations, small medium organizations? Here is our faculty, and I think just by looking at their presence, you notice that we are truly a global set of faculty members. In fact, each and every faculty member has already been through our team coaching program to begin with, and they are successful. They are delivering like Antanas, like Lux. They are delivering real world team and group coaching. So you are going to learn from experts, those who are really in the field. And on top of that, several of these professional coaches are also ACTC accredited. So you have the support when you need it. And then, of course, as I mentioned, this certification leads you to two certifications: dual certification, which is dual credential, PCC, Professional Certified Coach, and ACTC, Advanced Certification in Team Coaching. How do we do that? Now, when we accredited this program, we accredited this as a team coach specific program, but as a level 2 program. So the group and team coaching program focuses on organizational development, and our mentoring program focuses on enabling you to advance your skill from ACC level to PCC level. And when we combine them, we can issue you a level 2 certification in group and team coaching. So that way you can use a level 2. So it's another dual certification there. You are receiving a level 2 certification that you can go towards PCC with, and you are receiving a group and team coaching certification that you can go towards ACTC with. So this is a great opportunity I saw at the very beginning, because sometimes I noticed that the coach education world is sometimes training after training, training after training. I got into that rabbit hole at the very beginning. My initial coaching education provider told me, "You are not good enough unless you have done all my programs." And I thought, this is not where I want to be. I want to learn everything in one place in a robust manner, that a program gives me confidence. So since I already fell in that trap, later on when I created my programs, I decided I'm not going to do that. Rather, I'm going to give everything in one place, so that our colleagues are able to go out there and actually, it's not about learning after learning. Learning is important. We are lifelong learners. But I see very often coaches end up learning after program after program after program, not really earning that investments back, not really putting that practice into real world. Therefore, we are determined. All our coaches will testify, and they are practicing already in this space. So our focus is as quickly as possible you to finish the credentials that you want to acquire. If one certification can enable you to get two certifications, that is what we cheer for. All right. So we also have an Ignite Business Incubator. One thing we also found out at the beginning is that often when the coaches are educated, but at the same time, they found it a little bit difficult to go into the real world. So we create a business incubator where we bring you a client that you deliver coaching and gain the experience as part of the program. And it's a complimentary basis. And we do a marketing campaign for you to gain that visibility as well. So if you're looking at PCC credential, so we also can provide level 1 to level 2 certification upgrade. If you have done your level 1 certification somewhere else, as you go through this group and team coaching, we can take that level 1 and then include this and issue you 125 hours of level 1, and it comes complimentary. We have a 6 months ICF mentor. We provide not just education, we provide solutions for you, which means we become your partner. So we provide you 6 months of ICF mentoring, a robust mentoring program. We provide you with the ICF PCC credentialing practice exam, one of the top level professional exams that's out there at the moment. And you also can gain coaching experience via our accelerator program. And there's an internal assessment for the PCC recordings. So you don't have to submit your recordings to ICF, considering this is a level 2 program. And then we provide you comprehensive credential support if you are applying for PCC. And then moving on for your team coaching credential, advanced certification in team coaching, ACTC, we deliver 65 hours of team coach certification. We provide in-house supervision. You can gain the coaching requirement via our incubator, and also you can receive the comprehensive credential support. So as you notice, it's not only all-inclusive ACTC, but it's also all-inclusive ACTC and PCC if you would like to. In fact, if you would like, you can combine this with MCC mentoring and then receive the level 3 certification based on our certification structure, how we have accredited our program with ICF. At Ignite Global, we have 516 hours of ICF accredited training hours. So we have a wealth of training that we can combine in some ways that complies with ICF standard fully so that you can seamlessly acquire your credentials. So our next program commences on the 31st of March. At the end of this month, we still have seats and we already have some wonderful colleagues from around the world. It includes 12 live classes, 3 hours each class, and you have plenty of resources in our e-learning platform, model classes, pre-recorded content, lots of things to download, lots of resources such as agreements, contracts, many resources that you can download from e-learning platform, apart from a wealth of faculty members, as you just saw. Let me share with you very openly our program fees. So please note that this does not include the credential bundle. The group and team coaching mastery certification and organizational development specialist using a coaching approach, these two dual certification is available at 2,650 USD. And currently we have a $100 instructor discount. So if you were referred to this meeting and if you came through one of our faculty members, please mention their details as you register so that you can avail that. And also we have extended our $100 early bird discount as well. So this is available until 17th of March. So if you are interested, you are very welcome to join us. If it's the right time for you, if this program resonates with you and this sharing resonates with you, you are most welcome to join us. So with that, I would like to stop this short presentation. If you have any questions, they are most welcome. Over to you, colleagues. All right, so Ajay.
Fernando, Ajay, yeah. Just one query here. I have not yet received my ACC even, though maybe the hours are there, but I'm working with an organization and maybe it doesn't allow me to have my hours outside of the organization as of now on any paid basis. So I have collected that, and even though I have taken with other centers in Thailand, maybe for the PCC level trainings as well. My thing is, even though I'm not a certified ACC, if I want to go forward, is it possible? And first thing first, I would like to maybe talk to you separately through email, if possible. That how can I really, or how can you help me in getting my ACC first, and then we can see from there how can we move on further.
Oh, absolutely. We can definitely assist you with getting your ACC credential. That's out of the question. It's the easy thing to do. And then you can continue on to the group and team or your PCC in any way that you would require, we are happy to help. Ajay, actually, what we could do is, since you have registered for this session, we do have your email address.
Yeah,
So what we could do is, my colleague will reach out to you and with a link to, maybe I can share with you my meeting link right away. Why don't you set up a one-on-one call and let's strategize. Help me understand where you are in your
sure.
practice, in your training journey, and then
Yeah.
we will connect and strategize it further. And also, any other colleagues here, very welcome to use the same link and join me. We will also have sent an email to you, Ajay. I look forward to connecting with you and supporting you.
Thank you so much, Fernando. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Looking
And in
forward to
fact,
the
Ajay, we
interaction.
do have a option. Yes, just to quickly mention, we have an option where you can go for both ACC and PCC through our program, including mentoring and all the requirements within one option. So maybe that's something we can
Okay,
discuss when we meet.
sure, sure. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Colleagues, any other questions, insights, maybe a key takeaway as we are ending this session now? All right. So it has been quite a while. Once again, thank you so very much for spending this time with us. It was wonderful to co-create with you. I feel I have grown, learned from all your contributions. Thank you everyone for joining. Really appreciate being in our network. We do lots of complimentary sessions on a monthly basis. If you are interested, continuing to grow and learn different areas, different specializations. We talk about trauma-informed coaching. We talk about child adolescent development coaching. We talk about group and team coaching. We talk about coaching beyond the conscious mind. There are so many. We are serious. If you notice, we are serious in our professional, how we support your professional development. So join us if you feel a calling. And once again, Antanas, thank you very much for joining and sharing this space with me. Thank you, Lux, for being here. With best regards, we look forward to seeing you in the next session. Thank you very much. Bye for now.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.